Hobbs and Amp. Shock-locking dollar. Saturday update S has now been unleashed in 63 offshore markets, clocking another $27.3m on Friday, and estimated to ramp up to $90m through today at the directed film. The offshore and global HN's estimates through Sunday are coming in slightly under where we had them, but close to the range we'd heard. The movie has garnered, and are expected to banter to no ones in 53 of the 63 debut markets. Southeast Asia versus last year's Mission Impossible U Fallout, a decent comp given the summer date, recurring characters, and amped up action. HN's is revving higher in like-for-likes. As we noted in art, if the global estimates hold, HN's will be Universal's fifth highest worldwide opening ever, behind F8, Jurassic World, F7 and 50 Shades of Grey. It would also be the comping to spin-offs of major franchises. It's estimated that if HN's international opening is $127m, it would be 3% off Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, 1% down on Rogue One A Star Wars Story, 130% above Bumblebee, and 164% over Men in Black International. What makes this sum? Looking at Friday openings, HN's was led by India with $2.3m, followed by Mexico with $2.2m. Leading comes through, with no direct competition from new releases in the marketplace in the month of August. HN's is positioned for playability and perhaps a higher multiple than its recent stablemates, which opened somewhat front-loaded during the Easter corridor. There are key markets to come including France, Korea, and China during August. In the Middle Kingdom, we'll have a full weekend report tomorrow. Previous Friday Universal spin-off Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw rocked up to the international box office in 54 markets, combined across Wednesday and Thursday. With $20, the early numbers point to an offshore opening in line with pre-weekend at around $125m. More will be gleaned. In Indonesia, the #1 launch was the highest bout ever for the studio at $12m. Vietnam preview. The top start was Russia, where the $22m #1 bout is Universal's second biggest summer opening day of all time behind Minions. In the Middle East, the Reverend Up was #1 with $15m, including the best opening day in the nascent Saudi Arabia market U ahead of Avengers Endgame. Ukraine was also elsewhere. Australia and Germany were also #1 debuts, as was the UK. Brazil opened at HN's got the motor running with $5.8m in its Thursday previews. Overseas, there will be further key offshore rollouts through the month of August, including Italy, France, Korea, and China to come. We'll have international updates through the weekend. Sign up for the latest news.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.